another 6 hours of something to say. I thought we had a fantastic night tonight, and I want to thank Detroit. It's been 30 years since our last SummerSlam in Detroit, and the city did not disappoint. I think they showed up in mass. They showed up to have a great time. I think, and I think we delivered for them. I want to thank the partners and the Tigers and the Lions, because they've been excellent partners in this process and helping us get to this point. Tonight was the highest grossing SummerSlam in the history of the WWE. It's actually our highest grossing PLE ever outside of WrestleMania. So successful on that. Tonight's attendance was 59,194. I want to point out the fact of something that I think is really cool, and Heyman just talked about the success of everything that's happening, and while I certainly acknowledge the tribal chief and the bloodline, I think it's so many things that have risen, that have been put on display, and people that have been given the opportunity to shine in a way that has really sort of transformed WWE, and that to me shows in things like us breaking records at every PLE that we have done in 2023. Every single one of them has broken a record. So I think that's stating something. And like Paul mentioned, almost every week when we're at Raw, when we're at SmackDown, or when we're getting the reports, it's largest gate ever, it's largest attendance in that market's history. The amount of records that we're setting right now, the amount of business that we're doing. If this was a tweet, I'd use the little flame emoji. I'm learning. My daughter came with me on this trip. She's back there waiting for me, so I'm learning like the Twittery things, or X's, or whatever they're called. So we're working on it. We'll have more numbers for you guys next week on sponsorship, merch, social, but all of them at this moment look like they set records. The viewership on Peacock looks pretty much like it's a record for SummerSlam, and I think pretty much a record through the rest of the year, but we will see. Like I mentioned, highest grossing PLE outside of WrestleMania of all time, but also our largest sponsorship and partnership in this company's history, from Slim Jim and for SummerSlam, the sponsorship in general setting records for the company. So successful weekend all the way around. Hey Bill, how you doing? What's going on? Good to see you. Yeah, you text me you were going to be here looking for a gig, but good to see you. Hopefully that momentum will keep going. As all of you know, WrestleMania 40 in Philly, it goes on sale 1 week from Friday, August 18th. And from all indications right now, the interest in it is at an all-time high. So, wonderful evening. Thank you all for being here. You know, we had obviously over 150 media in attendance tonight, so I appreciate all of the support, all of you being here. Hopefully you had a great time. I'm not going to go through the matches on the card because I think you all witnessed it. I think you knew what happened tonight. I think there's some incredible moments. A lot of them were talked about tonight. I will mention to me that I heard Cody say he hadn't digested or had enough time to really digest the Brock Lesnar moment after their match. Completely unplanned, completely in the moment, and I just, for me, Brock Lesnar is such a unique athlete, human being, all those things. But he really, I don't believe, gets the credit he should at being one of the all-time greats at this, right? Unbelievable athlete, at the highest of levels, UFC at the highest of levels, right? You could make the argument and would be accurate, greatest combat athlete of all time. But just talking about sports entertainment, just this. My opinion, one of the greatest of all times. I don't think because his style is different, because of the way he does it is different from anybody else. Truly, really is, a generational talent for this. Name the amount of people that Brock Lesnar has gotten up after going through a match like that, shook their hand, and pulled them in to hug them before walking out, right? I know Brock, I work with him all the time. That was a holy shit moment for me, right? So when Cody realizes what happens, I think that's a moment. And if that doesn't state to you where Cody is at, where this journey has taken him, from what many people questioned at WrestleMania to where he is right now, like that rise just continues to be phenomenal, and he delivers at all terms. So it's awesome. And it's the other thing that I noticed tonight. To me, there's a lot of moments of people shifting into another level, whether they've been there before and had fallen off, or whether they're getting there for the first time. But Logan Paul just continues to excel. Ricochet getting an opportunity to shine and delivering an unbelievable performance. A new baddest woman on the planet, so to speak, and just that epic of a moment for Ronda to do that, and for Ronda to do what she does, to me is again, it's a Brock Lesnar moment. LA Knight, breaking out, it's just a big night, and even something like Io having the moment that she had, stepping into her own in this environment, when I think a lot of people understand what she brings to the table and what she can deliver, but getting that opportunity again. And it was great to see Dakota back. But just a spectacular night, and of course Roman and the Bloodline always deliver. The women had a spectacular match. So, other than that, I'm going to open it up to questions.
We'll start off in the front row.
See, Byron learns, right? With the last time I battered him for not calling on the way, he starts with a woman straight out of the gate.
I listen. I'm stubborn at times, but eventually I do.
No, you listen, buddy.
I'm not here to get anyone in trouble here.
Too late.
Too late. All right, congratulations again on an incredible show. I'm Emily May with that hashtag show, and Sportskeeda with Bill. And there's been a lot of discussion.
Why don't you make Bill sit all the way over there if he's with you?
Well, I couldn't find him.
I mean, not that I blame you. I'm just asking the question.
I couldn't find him. So I wanted to ask, there's been a lot of discussion across the wrestling sphere about women and representation and diversity across many wrestling promotions. And so I would like to hear from you, as someone that is a head of creative, how, especially with a new champion tonight, how are you pushing women across the board at WWE, especially with some new premium live events in our future?
My take on that is the same as it's always been on that. I don't see the difference. I look at the women in WWE just like I look at the men in WWE. They're talent, and it's irrelevant to me if they're female talent, male talent, doesn't matter to me. I put the same amount of thought, put the same amount of process, and are just looking for the things that are delivering in the moment. I said it when they did it. When women main evented WrestleMania, it was because they were the main event of WrestleMania. We didn't make them the main event of anything, and this has been for me through takeovers and NXT and all of it. If they were the main event, it was because they were the main event, not because, hey, that's pretty good. You guys are women. I think I'll get better press if I put you in the main event. That's cool, right? No, it's not. It's whoever is the most deserving, whatever is the most deserving. There's always going to be criticism of everything we do. My only thing is, one, have patience. Two, there's always another thing around the corner. And like there was a lot of banter that I saw this week about matches being cut, right? Which is the word that was used, but nothing was cut. There was no card announced, right? If we don't have more things in the pocket ready to go for a PLE than can fit in the PLE, I've done a terrible job, because there's always an injury waiting around the corner. There's always a moment that changes everything. And when one creative thing changes, it changes the trajectory of everything, right? So if you don't have more stuff than you need ready to go, you failed. Then you get to the unfortunate place where you and I've got too much stuff. I don't know about any of you, that show was plenty long tonight. Plenty long, right? If it had been longer, it would have been bad. And so there comes a time when you say, well, does everything get shorter time? Does everything get rushed? Does everything get hurried? Or do we move things around and shift it and give it a bigger spotlight? As a performer, for me, I'd rather have the bigger spotlight. That's how I look at it. But when it comes to the difference between like, how do we write the storylines? How do we get here and there with different characters and all of that? I don't look at it as any different. It's talent. What storyline can I create with the best talent to create the best moment, to create the best matches, main events, PLEs, and everything is looked at as a whole. And it's looked at as a cycle from the year, right? So you have to look at all of it. It's a gigantic puzzle.
All the way in the back row.
Hi, Brandon Thurston from Boston Office. I was wondering if you could tell us a little about Vince McMahon's contribution to creative lately, and to what extent his recovery from surgery will impact his ability to continue to contribute for now.
As far as the surgery goes, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you how fast that recovery will be, or if I'm guessing, then I've seen Vince come back from some remarkable things way faster than anybody else I've ever seen do it. He still brags that he was back quicker from 2 quad tears at the same time than I was from 1. So, you know, how long that is, I don't know. As far as contributions, I would just say this. The reason WWE is what it is, the reason this business, not just WWE, because you could make an argument, a very valid one, that without Vince and his vision for this business, maybe it wouldn't be here anymore, right? There were some things at that time, back in the day, that were very popular, roller derby, or things like that just disappeared off the face of the planet, that I can remember being a kid, yes, because I'm really old, watching that on TV, same, like right after wrestling, and thinking like, it's kind of a similar thing, but gone, right? Never to be seen again. Vision of what he did changed the business, changed all of it for 50 years, incredible run of success, no greater mind in the business. In this point in time, if all of us didn't look at moments in time for counsel from him on thoughts or ideas, or if we have a question to go to him and ask, we'd be silly not to. It's sitting next to somebody that knows more about this, or has forgotten more about this than you'll ever know, maybe, right? And to not utilize that in some aspect. But is he day to day? No. Is he in it all the time? No. And he's, if anybody has, he's earned that right to be able to do that.
Hi, Adam Graham with the Detroit News.
Hey, Adam, you're very happy to be here.
Thanks for coming to Detroit.
Yeah.
Wanted to go back to Detroit as a host city, how it's been for you guys. You mentioned this is the first SummerSlam here since '93. This is the first time you've been in Ford Field since WrestleMania 23 in 2007.
Way better than I would have done, I'm terrible.
Yes. Just again, wondering how Detroit has been as a host city, how we got our turn here at this time, and 2027 would be 40 years on WrestleMania 3. Wondering if we're going to get another WrestleMania in our future anytime soon.
Look, I think all of that we'll see. As far as Detroit being a great host, incredible. It's why we're here. Fan base that's here. Detroit's always been an amazing city for WWE. As far as where we go in the process, there's a bidding process on it. It's sort of like what the Olympics goes through, or the Super Bowl goes through. We go through the same process of trying to find the right place. What would they like us to go? The impact study for WrestleMania just came out. I think it was 250 million or something like that for impact of LA for WrestleMania. The economic impact that we bring to cities and their local governments for what we do in today's world is it's kind of second to none to some degree. So their desire to have us here, it's a part of that process, and where we're gonna go for WrestleMania, SummerSlams, Rumbles, you name it, it becomes a part of that process. And then obviously for us, it's not just about the benefits and about the money, it's about, where we're gonna have the best reaction, where our fans are the best. We can get offers to go places where we don't think we'll have a great show, we're not gonna go there. So, timing was right, setup offer was right, whatever it is, and amazing fan base here. So we had a blast here. I thank everybody here in Detroit for the hospitality, and look forward to being here again down the line and doing this again with Ollie, because it was a great time.
Our final question will come from Mr. After.
Bill After from Sports Kate, along with Emily, Chris Featherstone. So it appeared in the press section today, we were all saying, why the heck was the U.S. champion, Austin Theory, in the Battle Royal? What's the answer?
My guess would be to try to win a battle royal. That's what I would be. I mean, I don't know. I think to avoid being thrown out over the top rope would be his first thing, and then maybe winning it might be the second, which both those didn't pan out for him.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a moment there, that he could succeed and do something really cool.
It just seemed like, why isn't he defending the title at SummerSlam, but he's in the Battle Royal?
Yeah, I think I covered that under the longer event section of the process, right?
Okay.
Like, this is one of the things. So when you creatively have enough talent and enough storylines and everything else that you can do 2 full days of WrestleMania, when you pull back to one show, time-wise, it's very clear, no matter what show it is, you cannot put everybody on that show. I try to have that conversation with talent all the time. Obviously, if you're a talent, when the bigger PLEs come around, or what is perceived as the bigger PLEs, that's the show you want to be on. But not everybody can be on that PLE. Because when tonight's show, which is now over, 4 weeks from now, we're going to be at Backlash. 5 weeks after that, we're going to be at Fastlane, right? There's always another big event that you have to have stuff ready to go on. You have things in your pocket, you have them ready to go, and then you see what is positioned best. What's the biggest thing you have for this? The other things you move over. Along that same, creative point of view, at the same time, you have 5 hours of live television every week that you've got to feed as well. 7, if you want to count NXT, right? So the amount of content that you're constantly churning and generating based off of the PLEs and what you have to make strategic decisions. Sometimes those decisions aren't going to make everybody happy. Sometimes people are going to have to take the lemons and make lemonade, right? It just is what it is. But again, rather see them have a bigger platform at another time than a smaller platform at a bigger time. To me, that makes more sense, and that's where I would rather see it. But Austin Theory, I'm sure, is brushing up on his top rope skills right now, trying to get to the next Battle Royal to see if he can have some success in the Battle Royal field.
Well answered.
Yeah, thank you. We'll do one more, Brian. Go ahead.
Yeah, Chris Vanini from The Athletic and the Getting Over Wrestling podcast. Finn Balor, 7 years, coming back here. He's had a couple of title shots, hasn't gotten over the hump. Where do you see where he is at right now?
I see Finn Balor as being in probably the second most successful sort of grouping outside of the bloodline right now. Pretty dominant on Raw. To me now it's, I don't know, there seemed to be a little bit of a rift there with him and Damian. Where does that go? It's always this very interesting to me, where those character traits take people. The interesting thing with the bloodline, different from Judgment Day, bloodline has a very distinct leader. Judgment Day sort of doesn't. You can make the argument it's Rhea. You can make the argument it's Damian. You can make the argument it's Finn. I don't think anybody will make the argument it's Dominic. But he's an important cog in that wheel, but to me, that's the thing. Where does Finn go from here? I don't know, that's what I want to find out, right? And to me, that's the point of all this. What's next, right? And when we get to the place where you're asking what's next, I think that's the best place to be. Thank you all very much for being here. I look forward to seeing you all again down the road, and enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you to Triple H, thank you to